Right. So we need to get into the temple. So to do that, we had to talk to the bird people. And so we went to talk to the bird people we decided that the plan was we were going to ask them about this mysterious word that we found, but we weren't going to tell them apparently where we found it. And we went in, and somehow we lost track of why we were there. And then the Birdman was like, okay, I'll let you into the temple, but first you need to tell me where you heard that word. And everybody was like, oh, we just sort of found it one time. And he was like, but we had this ancient artifact. There was a ring with that word on it. And then I said, oh, we found that ring. And then everybody looked at me all crazy. And now Tabrin might not give it back to him, and I think that's really mean.
She really captured the tenseness of the social things going on in that moment of, like the ancient history of these races and, all of that really just captured Din. Beautiful. She exactly knows what's going on all the time.
That's exactly what we were looking for. Right. So, we return. Tabrin has made the statement that he believes that the ring is supposed to be something that they possess. The party. I mean by they. And the Birdman looks at Tabrin.
I feel like I'm about to have to share a bit more about my personal experience.
We'll see how it plays out.
Perhaps to explain why my companion and our party feels like if what we have is in fact this artifact.
Can we back off on our party feels? Because I would like to get a notary and sign that whatever Tabrin says next, Harbeck may or may not agree with at his leisure.
All right. Let me rephrase. Anyway, let me share a bit about myself and why perhaps now is not the best time to be talking about the return of any artifacts which we may or may not have.
Please, little one.
I'm not really sure how to start this. So the artifact in question you said predates the Cataclysm. Do you know what the Cataclysm is or was?
My people has its histories.
So most people agree that it was around the time of the Cataclysm that the gods by and large disappeared, but nobody really agrees about exactly what happened. I know what happened.
I find that notion
difficult
unlikely.
to believe. I don't blame you. It's an unbelievable claim. Let me tell you what I think happened and why I think that I know it, and then we'll start from there. So it is my belief that the Cataclysm marks the culmination of an attack by Tiamat, Sarath, and Kurtulmak and their allies on the rest of the gods, those seated in Elysium. An attack that was by and large successful. They destroyed or imprisoned the other gods, and that is why they disappeared. Their attack was almost completely successful, except for one of the secondary or somewhat minor member of the Gnomish pantheon decided that he would take steps to provide an out. The steps he took were to bind his soul a portion of his being to that of a mortal, and thus escape the destruction or imprisonment that the rest suffered. I can't explain exactly how that happened or what sort of trickery was used, but as I discovered somewhat recently, I am that mortal. Long pause while he digests and decides how insane he thinks I am.
Yeah, basically.
Very.
What can you tell me of Darkwind elementals?
Take that, bird guy's train of thought. Critical hit.
That
Sounds like Harbeck signed on to that notary.
That's kind of where I was going next. We'll jump there while you're mid contemplating my insanity. It's fine.
He seems to be digesting everything that you're saying. And even after you finish speaking, he doesn't say anything back. He continues to look thoughtful. Tabrin chimes in with, "What do you know of Darkwind elementals?" Which seems to almost snap him out of a trance. And he looks straight at Tabrin. "What do you know?"
I've seen one.
I highly doubt that.
And I was saved by one of the elemental plane gods, as it were, from said Darkwind elemental.
I understand, sir, how difficult our story can be to believe.
Well, that's because we left out the whole middle. Said
It
we
was
were on
also-
a boat, Darkwind elemental.
It was also very difficult to live on this side.
Well, I'm
Um,
just going to piece together what I think might be a legitimate story with new information that I'm finding out as we're standing in the same room. Is if Darkwind elementals are a part of this and they're working with Sarath, are they also connected perhaps to the binding or hiding away of the gods that have disappeared since the Cataclysm?
It seems likely. So, my suspicion is that whoever it was that gave you that ring, Tabarin. So I'm just sort of like turning away from old bird dude while we have this little side conversation. Understands what it is that we're about, and that we have somehow ended up fated to combat this. And that if that ring allows some sort of command of the elemental plane of air, we're going to need it to oppose the Darkwind elementals that are allied with Sarath. Anyway, turning back to the bird guy. That is why I think that the ring needs to stay in our possession, at least for now.
I agree.
Could you make another one?
They've
An
had
ancient-
thousands of years. Then I think if they could, they would have.
I am more
Maybe they
than...
needed the original to make a copy.
Well, it's
Ancient important
far more
artifacts are
reasonable.
not generally something that you just duplicate when you want another one.
Somebody made it in the first place.
Yes, likely that person was a deity or some other
Oh,
unique.
Brig, you should make.
We have a deity!
I'm not. See, this is part of what I tried to explain earlier. I'm not actually a god.
But he's in there.
He's not even really in there. Rather, a small portion of him is it's like
Guys,
he's
guys,
stuck something
guys.
on me so that he can keep track of where it is. that something happened to be a
Nice.
portion of his soul, and it broke my brain when he stuck it on.
Tavern can't believe what's going on.
At least,
But us,
if I understand what happened right, it was something like that.
turns to Tabarin. May I at least see it?
That seems fair, right?
Are you willing to agree with our assessment of need before we reveal what it is we have? We only hope that it is what you think.
If we
It
show
is.
it to him and it's not, then we can just keep it.
It is exactly what he thinks.
Except
But why-
have we actually proven that? I mean, it's
Why,
inscribed,
when I open the
but
ring, would that ring then put me in a place where I am witnessing a conversation between Sarath and a Darkwind elemental? If it is to communicate with the elemental plane of air,
yeah, I guess that's a fairly decent confirmation that it is what he thinks it is. So yeah, that's my question.
I said that out loud, by the way.
Do you agree with our assessment, or will you at least abide by it if we agree to let you see the artifact?
I will give the ring to you and your people once our...
Once we save the world.
Once what? Once we finish uncataclysming the world.
Right.
Right, good. Let's just make sure that we set our goals achievable.
Long term.
I apologize. I'm having a hard time processing all of this. It happened in the last few hours. I'm learning a lot of this at the same time that you are, sir.
I agree to those terms. But I do just want to see it.
Can I sense a motive?
Yeah, absolutely.
First roll of the night.
I was going to say, an hour and 20
Goes
minutes
to-
into the stream, first roll of the night. You're doing well.
Oh, why was that not switched?
He's being absolutely honest with you.
I take the necklace that I'm wearing that has a vial connected to it, open it up, and pour out some dirt. And from within the dirt, I clean off the ring so that he can see it as I hold on to it.
He looks at the ring. And he does just look, he doesn't make any attempt to touch it or grab it. But he looks long and hard, inspecting it from different angles, cocking his head from side to side.
Is it
And you
very
can see
bird-like?
his eyes. You can see his eyes growing wider and wider with every passing moment.
Close over it, put it back in to the vial with the dirt upon my neck.
Oh dear, Llama.
Did he just disappear into a pile of mud again?
No, he just put the ring back. So apparently he keeps it in a pile of mud, which I didn't realize. Put the ring
Yes.
back in the mud and then around his neck, because that's a thing.
Because the ring is air-aligned and putting it in the mud neutralizes it so it doesn't do anything to you while you're... Makes sense to me.
I accept your premise.
Harbeck knows a lot about magic.
Lecturing the actual arcane trickster. the actual mage. He seems almost reverent, like he's obviously moved by what he's seen.
I understand this is very important to you, to your people.
Maybe we can give it back when we're done with it. Would that be okay?
I guarantee I will give it back when we are done.
If we ever figure out when that is.
Well, maybe
done.
one of their guys could come with us, so, when we all die trying to save the world, they could bring the ring back here. Or we could leave it in a will or something.
Young one, you can't even begin to fathom the meaning. But
Perhaps.
But I know
that
it's important to you.
Perhaps now that you've seen it, that lends a bit of credence to the rest of our admittedly insane story.
I believed you anyway, little one.
You're a rare individual, sir.
Question.
Yes.
I have a hunch that there are other artifacts of power, perhaps to other races, perhaps the Dragonborn or others that Sarath is seeking, or maybe taken and is trying to protect from getting back to the people they belong to. Would it be true to guess that there's one for the elemental plane of fire?
I imagine so.
Good enough for me.
I
Well,
must
gives us-
rest now.
Thank you for your wisdom and your time.
and for the access to the temple.
One of my guards will be stationed at the rise tomorrow. Get some rest. You'll need a full day to explore the ruins.
We're not particularly welcome in the neighbourhood. Is there a good place for us to get some rest that you might recommend? Or at least, like, a distance that would be the appropriate amount to walk away?
50 paces, then turn and shoot.
We don't want to threaten or disrupt anything that's going on.
Leica will find you a place to rest.
That's appreciated. Thank you again. It's been a pleasure.
Nod/bow and begin to exit the tent.
The old bird lies down, clearly contemplating something.
How to kill us all to get his ring back?
It's not his,
How many guards could he summon by screeching as loud as possible?
It's not his ring. It's the ancient ring of his people. No,
Which is kind of his ring as the leader of his people.
it's way more important than just his ring.
Right.
And I'm not sure how I still have possession of it.
So I'm glad that he was reasonable beyond what is reasonable.
Very cooperative.
So I think that our goal for once we get access to the temple should perhaps be to identify what, assuming that Tabarin's hunch is correct, perhaps the temple will have some clues as to what other artifacts we should be looking for, or where to look for them. It seems, the logical conclusion would be that there is one associated with each of the elemental planes. And perhaps finding them should be our first
I
step.
think we had possession of one and lost it. And we'll need to go and find that box.
You think that box was holding the artifact associated with fire?
Is there a reason that we've suddenly
Very
jumped
much
to
think-
collecting all of these?
It appears to be Serath's goal. So if we have them, that means Serath doesn't.
Great. Yep, got it. I'm on board.
Also, I suspect that much as Serath has allied with the Dark Wind elementals, they've allied with evil elementals in the other planes as well, and having artifacts that will give us some sort of power to oppose them will likely prove useful in the future.
And elemental planes. 4? Is that
Yeah.
I think so.
roughly what we're looking for?
It depends a bit on how you count. There's usually 4, sometimes
1,
6.
2, 3, 4.
1, 2, 3, 6. Now there's 6.
Occasionally, people include shadow or necrotic, dark, something, and light as so negative and positive energy when you start counting
Planet,
elemental planes.
he's a hero.
But
Gonna
not
take
always.
pollution down to 0.
That would
Well,
only
we've
bring us
completely lost Din. It's clearly past her bedtime.
that would only bring us to 5 if we include heart. We need to get all the way to 6. Basically, sometimes
yeah,
life
Captain.
and death are also included in the when you count. Sometimes order and chaos are also included when it depends on who's doing the counting. 4 is
So
probably
we're
a
looking-
good guess though.
For 4 to 6 rings. We know where one of them is. We think we know where the second one is.
They
I
may
think
or may-
Serath has a head start.
They may or may not all be rings.
The best part
They're-
about the
they're
second
like-
one
Whatever
is
they are, is they're small enough to fit in a box.
that we had it, and now we have absolutely no idea where it is.
Maybe the cat people stole it.
I'm going to
so-
count that as absolutely no idea because of the maybe. Like,
Yeah.
our best guess is hopefully the cat people that we don't really know exactly where they are anyway might
Maybe-
have possibly taken it.
Maybe we can look for any forest fires in the area.
That's a
and
lead.
Start there.
That's a non-zero number. So saying absolutely no idea is not quite accurate. It's a non-zero idea.
It's in the free land of Emerus.
Unless it got on a boat.
Probably. It's
How long's it been? It's been a couple of weeks.
Din,
It could be
how is a
literally
box-
anywhere.
Din, how is a box going to get onto a boat by itself?
Whoever
it's not
took it
by
from our
itself.
camp.
If it were by itself, it would still be with us. That wouldn't. You know what I mean?
All right, I think
Sprout
we all
legs
need
and
to
wander
go
off.
Right, let's go sleep.
go sleep. And
Like we're tired to the point of punch drunk and loopy. Could you find us some place to sleep before we put all of our foots collectively in our mouths so far that we get completely trounced?
process all this information.
Yeah. By the way, now that we're done with our audience with the one person in the world that's going to be reasonable enough to believe us, we should probably stop talking about all those things.
Brig, if you intended to keep secrets, perhaps Din isn't the best person to have nearby. Secrets don't work very well with her.
I honestly, Din, I really do like you. I enjoy the fact that you're in our company, but sometimes you're incredibly inconvenient.
Well, that's the sweetest thing anyone's ever said.
I don't know what that word means.
It's a good thing. Din, it's fine.
It's fine, lass.
A short while later, Leica shows up, and he takes you a short way away, probably a 10-minute walk away from where the bird people are encamped, sort of straight out from the base of the mountain. He lets you know that you should be able to camp in a little copse of trees there. It's, quiet, out of the way. There's no other savage races camped nearby. The closest ones being the bird people, and you're reasonably friendly with them now, so you shouldn't encounter any issues. And
So your elder has promised us access to the temple. Will that be? Oh no, we're just supposed to go and find the guard, right? The guard is going to let us in the morning. Never mind.
Aye.
I'm sorry.
Would you like to stay and have a drink?
I'd love to stay and have a drink.
Great.
I'd love to stay and have a drink. Tomorrow I'm off duty. I thought perhaps, being that it's your first time to the temple, maybe you'd like a guide?
That would be fantastic. We have no idea what to expect in there. It's huge.
It is quite the sight. I think you'll be particularly impressed. I believe your people have some affinity for stone.
I expect to, what's the term that you kids use these days? Geek out. Expect to geek out quite a bit.
Anyway, so Leica sits down and joins you for a drink. Is there anything you want to ask him or talk about specifically? Anything any of you want to be doing this evening before you get some rest?
I just want to see if he knows any good drinking songs. Can't go to an entirely new place and not learn their drinking songs.
Brieg, who normally kind of acts as the party's designated driver, just gets terribly drunk.
Yes! Yes, Brig! Sing with me, lad!
We've seen drunk Brieg once before.
Oh, right.
I believe-
People lose ears. Yeah.
Right, except I think last time it was actually fake drunk Brieg when I was in a barrel. That was Brieg pretending to be drunk, not Brieg
No, I
actually
think,
drunk.
didn't you actually get really drunk once? I seem to remember you getting drunk.
Quick chat.
maybe.
Go check 48 hours of tape.
No. Chat, did he ever get really drunk? I think he got really drunk once.
It's possible that I've been drunk before, but tonight
We could get drunk and put him in a barrel on the ship so we wouldn't be terrified
Right, but
in the barrel.
But I was
That was
fake
fake
drunk
drunk.
in the barrel.
Oh.
Anyway, so I've had a rough couple of days, what with the whole revelation about my relationship to deity and things. So I'm gonna get myself nice and hammered and try to forget things for the evening.
Okay.
Except for the new drinking song we're learning tonight. Don't forget that.
The drinking song is being sung in quite rowdy avian voice, which is very squawky and not easily imitable.
That means that I can slaughter it, which is exactly what I like to do with drinking songs. I make them sound terrible.
Yes. Okay, so people get drunk. You sing and dance and be merry, and then eventually get some sleep.
I'm probably all out of booze now.
Are you running out of booze?
That is a very sad. I haven't had time to make any more. Yeah, that's gonna clean.
You
me
mean
up.
your special booze?
No, I have. I'm saving those. I'm talking about being out of my water skin full of because water is not a thing you drink. That's what I'm sharing, and it's probably gone now.
Yeah, that's probably it. Okay, fast forward then, as the moon passes through the sky and then the sun starts to rise. You know, the typical spinning clock. It's morning time. You guys you just wake up naturally in the morning. No unusual noises, nothing out of the ordinary. It's a temperate day. Fluffy white clouds in the sky. Lyric is asleep on the log.
Perfect day to go to a temple.
Let's go see the ancient stonework at the temple. Let's go. Are you guys ready? Wake
Ready.
up.
So Brieg kind of squints against the bright light of day and thinks for a second and then casts a minor illusion to create himself just like a little area of darkness in front of his eyes to calm things down. Put on my
Brig,
shades.
I've got just the thing for that. I have 2 doses of hangover cure. I'm gonna hand one to Brig.
Harbeck hands you a large flask full of ale.
It's specially formulated to be the hair of the dog.
I haven't often felt this way. Are you sure that the correct answer is to drink more?
Lad, this is specially formulated for exactly this purpose. This is breakfast beer.
What the hey? Brig throws back the hangover cure.
Your hangover is cured.
Oh, how odd.
That's easy as that.
Told you, lad.
You feel much better.
Isn't that right?
Yeah, that's quite amazing.
Okay.
All right, well, let's go take a look at the temple.
Lyric's still asleep, perched on a log.
Excuse me, sir. Lyric.
Harbeck has his 2nd dose of hangover cure ready.
Did you want to come with us to the temple, sir? I like tap his knee or something. I tap on him to wake him up.
Lyric stretches and wakes up slowly and says, "Go on ahead. It'll take you some time to climb the stairs. I'll meet you at the top."
If you find yourself feeling at all like Brig did when he awoke, try this. It'll straighten you out. And I'll just leave it there on the log.
He already appears to be asleep again.
I'll leave a note on it that says roughly exactly that sentence.
If you feel bad, drink this.
Eat me.
I was getting an Alice in Wonderland vibe. Okay, so the party is trudging off
I mean, we are
to...
talking to a bird, I'm just saying.
Not a bird person. I mean, a person who happens to be a bird. Is that, you put the person first when you're being politically correct, right?
Yeah, it's a person bird, not a bird person. Jeez, Llama, don't be racist. So, you are heading off to the base of the Temple of Alisar?
We sure are.
Yeah.
Okay. You get there, you find, once again, there's a dragonborn standing guard alongside one of these avian peoples. And they seem to be guarding the path up.
Head up to the path, to the guard.
Okay.
I believe
look
that
like we belong here. They'll just let us walk past. That's what I
I believe that we're supposed to have permission to enter today.
Oh, you ruined it.
You do indeed.
We tried that last time. It didn't work.
Yeah. Last time, Harbeck ended up getting thwacked.
All right.
Pratfall down a hill.
You definitely, yeah, you do.
All right.
You can continue up. It's quite a long climb. Try not to fall.
Thank you. We walk for a long time.
Harbeck admires
Fine.
the stairs.
It's not a long time, but it probably takes you a half an hour of solid stair climbing.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Harbeck chews on something from his pack. See how hard it is to keep my figure with you people around.
I'm not sure a 9 strength can do stairs for 30 minutes.
It's more constitution than
Constitution.
It's,
Oh,
it's
okay.
constitution based.
You don't want to like carry me up the stairs for 30 minutes with a 9 strength.
You don't want to carry you with 9 strength, period.
You don't want to carry me down a hill in a wheelbarrow.
Even that would be hard.
Carry,
Yeah,
you mean
push a wheelbarrow
lay
that's like-
under. Then yeah.
Yeah.
Tabern's a pretty smart guy. I'm sure he could come up with some way to lift you, but it's not going to be using his strength.
Age hand.
Anyway, so you're fairly pooped by the time you get to the top of the stairs. I don't think anybody has truly exceptional constitution, so yeah,
Perfect.
it's
We actually had to stop and poop partway up the stairs.
I've got a 15.
Yeah, I think our
15.
constitutions are by and large above average, but not exceptional.
I have a 12.
Mine is also
really
15.
made it up the stairs.
When you get to the top, though, Lyric wasn't kidding. It's truly a sight to behold. When you get to the top of the stairs and you finally reach the sort of base of the temple, you can see these massive archways that look like they could accommodate 40 gnomes standing on each other's shoulders, walking like 25 abreast. They're just huge archways that seem to lead into a central antechamber. The temple is open air, but like the central forum is open air, but there is a massive ring of undercover area all the way around the temple. And the temple is truly huge. Like, the people looking out across the forum, which is slightly depressed into the ground, as in, like, lower elevation, not feeling sad, slightly depressed into the ground, like, you can see straight across the top of that and all of the peoples that are gathered in the forum in the center to the other side of the ring. And the people on the other side of the ring look teeny tiny because they're so far away. It's absolutely massive. And as you start to get close and actually see the outside of the temple, the entire outside of the temple seems to be just covered in carvings, and no two carvings are alike. There are carvings in scripts you've never seen before. There are pictures. There are what appear to be maps. There are all sorts of things just carved all over the surface of this temple on the outside. And assuming that you look in towards the forum, you'll see more of the same. So you've reached the Temple of Alisar. You're standing right outside the central temple. What would you like to do?
So, looking at the carvings near us, does there appear to be any discernible theme? You know, like they're all varied, but they are all related to. No.
Christianity.
It's very hard to tell. It's very hard to tell because a lot of what is carved doesn't make sense to you. The writings are in scripts that are foreign. The images depict events, but you can't be sure what the events are without having, some kind of reference point, some kind of.
Perhaps we look for any images of the symbol of Sarath and then look for pictures in the area.
I think it's unlikely we're going to find any unholy symbols carved on these walls. I was hoping that we could find some sort of elemental theme and find clues about our elements that we were looking for, but without being able to identify some theme, I'm not really sure what to look for. So the covered area surrounding the open air forum, is it like divided into smaller rooms, or is it just like a big gallery kind of thing that goes all the way around that?
So you're starting to walk in towards the center?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay. As you start to walk in towards the center and you look up and you can see the open air forums in front of you, and this, like, it's hard to picture the scope or the scale, and it's hard to put into words as well. The central, open air forum is probably nearly a kilometer across.
That is not small.
Wow.
That's what I mean by it's truly a huge distance. And the covered area that runs in a ring around the outside is, probably 100 meters across. Like, there is ample space inside that outer ring to house thousands of people. Or if these drawings continue on the inside as well, potentially.
So,
Wow.
so we're
there's a
talking
lot.
like a kilometer diameter circle surrounded by another 100 meters of like giant hallway all the way around it.
Yes. Yes.
That is
It's
large.
big. And the central open air forum, while it is open air, there are like pillars and columns that extend up into the sky, which disappear into the clouds. You can't even see where they end. The sunlight is streaming down into the central forum, but when it's a kilometer across, it's not hard to get a lot of sunlight into that area.
So if-
It's gargantuan in scale, huge, massive, and awe-inspiring. You've never seen anything like it.
So walking the entire circuit of the thing is going to be like a couple of miles of walking to walk
Yeah.
all the way around the
So-
exit.
When you make something this big, do you install like a central feature that is more like on the scale of regular buildings?
I'm glad you mentioned central features, because as Llama looks around, or as Harvard looks around rather, just taking in the grandiose scale, and looks down over the open air forum, he notices that the stonework and like the actual ground, the floor level, the flat level of the central open air forum is not cobbled. It's not loose stone. It's one flat slab of stone. And that flat slab of stone itself is covered in carvings. And one of the things that he notices is that it would appear, and it's difficult to see from this perspective, but it looks like the circle is divided by lines. Now, you can't be sure how many divisions there are.
Okay.
Well,
is-
until we get right to the
go to
middle
the
of that
center.
circle, right? Then we.
Yeah, you'd have to be standing at the middle of the circle to...
Harbeck's
Oh, like a wheel.
geeky curiosity wants to know if this thing was carved from the mountain, or if this stone was like moved here, because it's massive.
The stone isn't natural, like the kind of rock that you would find at the top of a mountain.
So this was like someone brought this giant
A kilometer diameter circular
central
stone
stone.
and
Yes.
Okay.
put it here.
And there's bits of this that reach to the clouds.
Yes.
Are those climbable? I would like as close to a bird's eye view of the central stone as possible.
You could attempt to climb them.
Right, but is there a respectful like stairs way to go higher than we are?
Not that you can see from like the entranceway or the central circle.
Okay.
But maybe there's a way up from inside the enclosed diameter.
Or some of the worshippers here are bird people. Maybe one of them has made a sketch of it from the air because they have seen it from the air. Like it seems like a perspective that somebody may have drawn.
That's a very real possibility.
Where's the gift shop?
We could always wait for what's his name to show up.
Yeah, well, he'll be able to get that perspective. I doubt that he is capable of flight while carrying a Harbeck.
A 5-ounce bird can't carry a 1-pound coconut.
It's not a matter of where he grips it.
Are we talking an African swallow?
Are any of you an African swallow?
You are
Because I've got a bit of husk here. You
you're
could...
under the shape of a coconut, so if we just scale up that experiment enough, two of them could string you on a line.
I think you'd need a rock. Like the
Like
large
ROC
mystical
without the
bird,
K.
not the ROC.
Well, while we try to figure that out, why don't we try to walk to the center of this big circle and get a feel for how many divisions there are?
Wait, don't we have magic-y people? Can't they, like, doesn't one of you have a familiar that can fly up there and see things?
Binks crawls out, like sticks his head out of my pocket and squeaks angrily at you. Like, don't you remember me? Also,
We could
I'm a
mage
fairy.
hand Binks!
Get 30 feet up. That's
Tie
how
him
far.
onto the magic rope.
Give him a little Binksy harness.
The magic rope can only move 30 feet from me.
Oh.
Its magic is somewhat limited, and also the rope isn't magic.
I don't know.
I feel like we've had this discussion before.
Rope keeps clearly being magic.
It hasn't been a complete session if we haven't mentioned magic ropes at least once. I was sort of worried that tonight wouldn't count.
No, we got there eventually. Okay, so you start walking towards the center of the circle.
Yeah, so are there, like, you say that that central stone is carved. Are there pathways on it that I'm not, like, walking on these intricate fancy carvings? Because I don't want to wear them with my gnome feet.
No. And there are a lot of people up here.
And
From
they're
a
all...
multitude of different savage races, and they don't seem to be paying any mind whatsoever to the carvings.
Okay,
tramping
so they're all trampling on them and not worried about it?
Yep.
Okay, then I guess I will just trample on them too.
Just the floor.
What kind of, like, are they worn down, or is... What condition are they in?
Excellent.
Which would be surprising considering the apparent age of the structure. I guess
And the fact that it's the center of an open-air forum.
the non-apparent age of the structure.
Right. So I wonder if that's something about the nature of the stone, or if they're, like, enchanted somehow. Not
Oh, you're
sure.
such an honorary dwarf. You got super drunk last night, and now you're wondering about this. Yes! Bree! Get over here. Let's look at these carvings a bit. Let's admire the handiwork. And how'd they keep them so sharp over thousands of years of being walked on? That's a trick.
You remember what this temple is, or what it was originally?
Right. Io.
Right, the seat of, like, the god of gods, the big man.
You think he made it?
Well, I don't know that he made it, but I suspect that he could make it keep its shape.
Even after all the gods were whatever happened to them.
I'm not sure if he was included in what happened to them. He is, according to the few legends that I've heard, sort of a neutral figure as far as the gods' interactions go. I'm not sure if he was included in the cataclysm, or if he's just been, sort of watching it happen, because one of those you don't get involved things that gods do sometimes.
Silly gods. Okay, so you head towards the center of the circle, and it takes some time. It's a long distance, nearly half a mile. So it takes some time. But after some time, you actually get to the center of the circle. It would appear the circle is split into 9 equal segments.
9.
9.
Well, that's not 4 or 6 or 8, so
9.
I'm not sure what else.
Are
could
we
be.
sure? Count that again. That could be significant.
That many?
9.
Now, if we follow one of the segments out to its center, or one of the lines that divides the segments out to the edge, what would we find out there? Harbeck just picks a line at random and wanders to the edge of it, looking for something.
Let me roll a d9.
Yay! Machines that can roll a d9. 9 sides.
How many deities were there in the ancient
Pantheon.
pantheon of Io?
You don't know much about it at all, really.
It's been like 3,000 years. Like, if you think about, like, in our history, what was
Right.
3,000 years ago, we have
We
no
don't
idea.
Okay, so you pick a line. The RNG decided to pick line number 4.
Great.
Out you go.
Yeah.
Ooh,
And,
like a shot, Harbeck just starts running down
So,
one of the
Right.
lines.
so while Harbeck is walking, I assume that the forum is not crowded because it's gigantic, but are there people wandering by occasionally?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm just
Is
going
there
to
a
grab
tour
one of
guide?
them and ask, why 9?
just at random, some dude walks up to you and is like, hey.
Yep, that is exactly what happens. Random passerby, like,
The random passerby seems to be some kind of canine humanoid who just growls at you and continues walking. Also, you've lost
Din.
Llama now. He's
Gone.
off wandering.
Din,
He's-
you can ask him.
The last thing you heard from Harbeck was,
I don't
It might be
speak
here.
dog. Wolf, remember? Wolf.
Wolves are canines.
so we are
You know-
right about at time for a cut.
Super short.
This isn't the cliffhangeriest cut we've had, but is this a good spot, or should we go on for a few more minutes?
No, we can do it now.
What will Harbeck find at the end of the line?
Yeah. What's
All
the
right.
significance of the 9 splits?
Find out next time on The Legends of Valcia. If you're watching on Twitch, next time's in like 3 minutes. If you're on YouTube, it's probably tomorrow if I keep up the pace I've been going.
See you soon.